Hello, Anthony.
Hello, Joaquin. How are you today?
Good.
Good. So we're going to talk about truth today. And to do that, I want to tell a story first to help you understand what our truth and what exactly we're talking about is, because I feel that truth is a very big wibbly-wobbly subject that has many more unfolding paths to go down. So the truth of today starts with a story that somebody gives money to a homeless man. So the act of somebody giving money to the homeless man is reality. That's what happened. That's fact. The next step of that is his intention while doing it, which is to help that person. Like, I'm giving money to help someone. That's my intention. Afterwards, he goes and talks to his friends and brags about it and says, "Oh, you'll never guess what happened. I helped this guy today." And doing that, he is actually wanting to impress his friends. So the truth of the situation is that he's actually doing it to get that kind of ego boost or that satisfaction.
I like that ego boost.
Yeah, so we have fact, which we'll talk about later, as a reality. We have intention, which we'll also talk about later. And then we have the deeper underlying truth of where this came from and why.
And why is it important to understand our truth? Why we really want to help someone out there? Because that creates karma, and that we'll talk about later. But right now, a lot of the times we are in situations where deep inside our truth is that we don't want to be there. And a lot of the times, because of social conditioning or because of society, we stay there. We do a lot of the times things because of society. Like in this case, helping the beggar, or a lot of the times a friend or family member asks for help and we help them, but we're totally angry. And the truth is that we're angry doing a favor. But if you think about it, you're really doing two things at the same time. You're being angry and you're also helping someone. The truth is that you're not really helping someone. Your state of being is being angry. And a lot of the times you do things sad, happy, angry, or jealous. When you start analyzing yourself, why I'm doing this, it will help you to recover a lot of bumps you find in your life. You find that a lot of the times what ego likes is to glamorize him or herself. They want to turn around and say, "Oh yeah, I put my new makeup on and everybody's looking at me." And it's like, yeah, nobody was looking at you, but in your head you created this. And the truth is that you put that makeup on with the intention that people will look at you. But deep inside, truthfully, you know that no one was looking at you. And you start enhancing and creating this lie. And you live your life in a lie. Yeah. Totally saying and telling lies. We kind of like take away the truth from all our actions and everything that we say to people.
Yeah, we create all these little layers on top of the actual truth. And that's kind of, I think, one of the points of being aware and to meditate in general, to get to that root of why you're doing these things, and that truth that we're talking about is kind of the first step to being in control of your whole life and your everyday actions and moments.
And you can only take control of your life, your intentions, by being truthful to yourself. You can, if you cannot be truthful to yourself, you will be experiencing a lot of bumps, a lot of trying to be a good person, because in your head you are trying to be a good person. You are being a good person by trying. You're not being a good person because you are a good person doing good things that good people do.
And that's intent versus truth.
Correct.
Exactly.
But the reality is that a lot of the times we do things that we don't want to do, and that's the truth. So you have to be truthful to yourself and say, you know what, at this moment I do not feel comfortable doing this. Right now I don't want to help you. Right now I don't have money to lend you. A lot of the times we're like, here's money because you asked me for money. And the truth is that you don't want to give it. But right there, you lend money to a person that asks you for money because you don't want to be perceived as poor.
Yeah, but you're betraying yourself too.
You don't want to be perceived as a bad friend. You don't want to be perceived as many things. But the truth is that all this has clouded your truth.
The reality, yeah.
Yeah. And you can just say, you know what, I don't have money to give you.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are actually capable to say, I don't want to help you?
Exactly. I prefer not to. I don't want to help you right now. It's not that I don't want to help you even necessarily. It's just that your truth is that you don't want to give your money.
And even as a little kids, a lot of the times they teach us not to ever say no.
Yeah, the sharing and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Or share your toys and everything else.
And I'm not saying that not sharing is okay. What I'm saying is that you need to understand how you really feel at that moment.
Yeah. So I mean, if you understand where you're coming from and why, it will help you to feel better and be better in action, basically.
So being truthful to yourself and really recognizing, because a lot of times we turn around and say, you know what, this friend asked me to go with him to this place and I don't really want to go. Why don't you tell him you don't want to go? Because then he will get mad. And see how you're already conditioning yourself.
Or sacrificing our own self.
Yeah.
For the situation.
And maybe by being truthful to yourself and say to the other person, you know what, I don't want to go with you because you're crazy, you don't know how to drive.
And I mean, it is building and creating karma and everything else that, just resentment and whatever else that you're having happen inside of you, instead of going with the truth and saying, I don't want to go.
And also trying to train other people to listen to your truth and not to feel offended.
True, yes.
and taking it personally. It's another challenge. But when you say very calmly, I can't, I don't want to, people will really understand it, because now you're not lying to yourself to say something.
Yeah.
Now you're being truthful to yourself, and when you say I can or I cannot, it feels very smooth.
Yeah, it should be coming from a deeper place, of just deeper underlying truth, instead of you making things up and having these intentions and covering for yourself and everything else that you constantly do with ego, basically.
And that is so standard right now. That this is so common. Yeah. People always making up, your friends always making up these lies not to help or not to be there for you, or there's always these several conditions and lies. And when you start learning to be truthful to yourself, you stop lying, and people never question you again.
Yeah.
They just take it and then they run with it because it's the truth, and the truth is so beautiful that nobody keeps questioning it.
The truth shall set you free.
Yes. A lot of the times we have friends where like, are you for real? Are you for real? Are you for real? My friends don't ask me that.
Yeah, well, the truth is you can't trust some people sometimes, that's okay.
And it is okay not to trust people, and it's okay to trust people. But the truth is that, are you trusting people?
Is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but are you trusting people to get something out of it? Are you trusting people because you want to be perceived as a good person?
Even if it's not getting negative, it's still that reason,
Listen to your gut.
That's an intent, exactly, instead of truth. So.
And don't push it. Yeah. Don't be like, I don't want to go because you're crazy. But I mean, the other person is not crazy by themselves. Sometimes you are part of it.
Well, the truth is you're not comfortable going. Just say, I'm not comfortable going. You don't have to get into deeper creating meanings and things for it when it's that simple that I'm not comfortable doing that. And if you want to keep going deeper, you can. If there's more past that, keep thinking about it, keep meditating on it, and think about it. And
like Mark Twain says, if you always say the truth, you don't have to lie.
There's a lot to remember,
Yeah, exactly, something to that effect. I mean, like, I don't know, I read it somewhere, I'm not lying.
Okay.
That's the truth. So, people practice the truth, the real truth, how you feel when you say certain things. If you call your friend or your spouse stupid, understand one thing. The truth is that you are saying that because something within yourself is being threatened and you are afraid. You call someone else stupid because you first felt something within you. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the times we see another person and they're just projecting.
Well, that's why knowing intent's important too.
Yes.
But that's not for this video.
But the whole point is that you need to really, really, really question
where it's coming from.
Where it's coming from. What's the truth?
Truth. Yeah.
Yes.
The heart of it.
If you don't want to tell your mom that you're doing weed, it's probably because the truth is it's not that she cannot accept it. It's probably because you are more concerned with how you're going to be perceived by your mom. And that is the truth. So be truthful to yourself, really. When you say or share something, analyze yourself. Why are you saying this?
Yeah, and that's one practice of meditation is to, if you have a situation that especially is bothering you, then that's the ones you need to start with as far as going to the truth of why it happened from your side and what you felt from it and why.
And this whole subject of truth goes with intent and later on with karma.
And right action, right speech, right everything.
Yeah, and also it's just really understanding a lot of things in your practice. If you are practicing meditation because you want to be perceived and you turn around and tell everybody, I'm meditating.
Yeah, you're not doing it for the benefit, you're doing it to show glory.
Correct. And
to
that's the
show
truth.
off, yeah, you want to
yourself. But you're capable to say it to yourself, I really want to be perceived as an enlightened being.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like,
how much of doing stuff is about inflating yourself? I mean, it feels like a lot of what we do is actually more inflation when it comes to truth instead of just what we're actually intending.
If you actually can confront yourself face to face and say, you know what? I really admire people that are spiritual and I want to be perceived as a spiritual person, so be it. That's the truth.
If you know why you're doing it, that's okay.
Exactly. But if someone comes and tells you, oh my God, you're just like a patchouli kind of like practitioner, and you get offended because they're bringing out the truth. And it's a truth that you haven't been able to face. Why? Because to come up with all these things, you have to self-analyze yourself. And you have to keep doing it.
Yeah, the truth that you're hiding from is what hurts you the most.
Correct.
Because somebody called you out, basically. They understood what you're doing, and you might not even have admitted to yourself until they said it, and you're like, oh, darn.
And that's why it's so offensive.
Exactly. That hurt because it's like, oh, I didn't even know I was doing that. I was trying to hide that and that kind of stuff, and that person.
And I love that because
got it right,
you were going above and beyond, but you never really paid attention that you were actually doing it because of personal gain. And the personal gain is that you wanted to be perceived as a spiritual person. So now, if someone comes and tells me, "Oh, you are like a Facebook Buddhist practitioner," I'd be like, by all means, yes. I'm not gonna get offended because now I understand why I'm practicing, and I understand my truth, and my truth is that I needed it.
Yeah, so I think you do have to know that truth before you get to the point where you don't have to pick things up and let them go.
Or convince people that you're doing certain things for a specific reason. Like giving money to the beggar because the beggar needs the money. Nah.
That's usually the last reason.
Usually it's the last reason. You love turning around and tell everybody that you give money to the poor, and then you start tear. Liar.
Yeah.
If you get offended right now, it's because of that. So you have to come up and say, you know what?
Brag about it.
That's the truth. I want to brag about it. I really want to brag about it. And then something will snap in your head, and you'll be like, really? And that truth will set you free.
Yeah, and then when people come and question you and everything like that, think about it. Don't be reactive before you actually
analyze
yourself. Your truth, because it's more about you growing, not having conflict at all.
Yeah, it's a lot to think. It's a lot to think,
Yeah.
And when you are in the path of the spiritual path, you're gonna come up with a lot of analyzing. You're going to learn a lot about yourself, and you're gonna learn a lot about judging yourself, judging other people. But this, in the long term, will help you to understand yourself, and by understanding yourself and your motives and your goals, will help you understand other people.
Yeah.
When you understand that completely, there will not be a person in the world that can actually come and offend you, because you'll know where the offense comes from.
Exactly. If you already know the truth, then what can someone say that's going to disturb you?
Exactly. So if someone comes and tells you you are a fake practitioner, you understand that that person feels a certain threat or fear.
And if the truth is that you are, you say, yes, I am. And if the truth is that you're not, you say, no, I'm not. But you don't have the, like, you don't have the pressure and attachment to, like, caring about it, because you're just like, I already know the truth, and I don't need
Correct.
I don't need to prove anyone wrong or right or anything. This is my truth.
And it will take, I would say, pretty close to 3 years. 3 years to continue this analyzing. Did they make you angry? And if you say no, what you keep asking is like, duh, you're angry. Just say, you know what? Yes, they made me angry because I thought I could control this. I thought that I could do whatever I wanted. And that started making you so humble, because you start realizing what you're saying and how ignorant you sound. And it's not an ignorance of like not knowing how to read. It's an ignorance of ego. Mm-hmm. It's the ignorance that you always want to control things. You always want things to go your way. So once you realize this, you understand the truth that you want to control things. You understand the truth that you are a little scared mouse. And you start understanding all these things. And these things become your strength. Mm-hmm. Because now you understand yourself, and no one can come and analyze you and try to attack you, because you already did it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So those are my 5 cents about...
Yes, and that actually brought up a big thing for me too. In meditation, we haven't really talked about meditation as a subject yet, but a lot of people think that you're meditating just to have your mind be silent. You can do that, and that can be great, but when you're starting to meditate for the first time, especially when you're older and you've had all this stuff that you're carrying and putting onto your mind and your whatever else, meditation actually, it's a better practice to go into meaning for all of these things and let them all come up and investigate your whole existence before you just are silent.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that. I think we should talk in our next video about either reality or intent. Yeah. In reality, I think reality would probably be easier.
We can do intent and then reality.
Pretty straightforward.
Well, reality is still kind of like... Let's talk about reality.
That's also true.
Ultimate reality.
Also so fuzzy. I know. Who's reality? It's
ultimate reality.
Because you've got personal reality. I know. Versus
personal reality, which is also a perception, anyways.
I know. So maybe we shouldn't even talk about that. We'll see. Okay. So that wraps up truth for today, though.